It's time to talk about things to see on a return trip to Paris. If you're planning a return and it's maybe not your first time, I'm going to share with you what we did in 5 days in Paris with some half days for travel as well. And on your first trip, of course, you should see all the iconic touristy things. Do not skip the Eiffel Tower. You should definitely climb the Arc de Triomphe. You should wander the Louvre. But if you've already done all of the things that are very touristy and like bucket list Paris things, here are some off the beaten path things that we did on our last trip in 2025 in April before heading out to the Loire Valley and on to Brittany. So what I'll do here is walk you through our route and our stops for each day, and I will include links along the way to each of the videos for all of these things that we saw. I'm going to call our arrival day, day one, even though it's sort of a half day really. We come from the west coast of the US. We always have an overnight flight. We usually arrive around 9 a.m., get through customs, and we usually plan to be at the apartment that we usually rent on the Ile Saint-Louis by around 10:30 or 11 in the morning. If you're doing this, arriving overnight after a long flight like that, do not plan to do really much of anything specific on that first day. You can, but you're going to be really tired and sort of just out of it. And we knew this, so we got the keys to the apartment in the morning. We got settled in, and a giant tip here, and I can't stress this enough, do not take a nap. Get your keys, get in the apartment, put your stuff down, and get back out on the street. Get out on the street. Stay awake until bedtime. So we knew we weren't going to want to do anything intensively, busy or really important that day. So we walked the Ile Saint-Louis, which is a lovely, just a little neighborhood markety kind of a place to be. If you've never done it, definitely walk the Ile Saint-Louis. The main street goes down the center with lots of neat little stores to stop in. We stopped at a little local grocery there and got a bit of chicken and some fresh vegetables and cheese, and we had a dinner in. The next morning, which was our first official full day on the ground there, we got up early and took a train nonstop out to Giverny to visit Monet's garden. We did have some hiccups finding the seat on the train, as well as some other mishaps that day, which you can see in the video here of mistakes to avoid making if you're visiting Giverny. You can also do a virtual walk through the gardens here. They are incredible at this video, and we spent the day walking through the gardens and the village. We had a lovely lunch in the village there. We just popped in and found a place to eat, and it was easy to get in and out of. We took the train back in the afternoon, and make a note if you're doing this, we got into Gare Saint-Lazare in Paris at rush hour. So be careful of that with the timing getting back from Giverny, unless you don't mind walking through a big metro station and a big train station in a massive amount of people in big city rush hour. Total miles for that day was 4.78 miles walked. And another tip here I will point out, make dinner reservations if you're going into Paris. Tourism is up so much and places are hard to get into at probably any time of the year. So don't be intimidated by making a phone call across the world to a foreign country. They're usually always going to answer the phone, and they will speak English, and they're always very nice. Even with my, fairly limited but okay, fluent enough French, it still feels alarming, but I managed to get it done. You can also make reservations online with a lot of restaurants there. We had dinner that night on the island at Les Feux de l'Île, which was a lovely little dinner place where I had foie gras and a lovely dinner. We wandered the island a little bit more and then turned in early for the next day. On the following day, which was day 3, this was the Thursday before Easter, so we walked down the island and onto the Ile de la Cité and past Notre Dame Cathedral, which was open for the first time on an Easter since the construction and repair after the big fire. It was super crowded, so we did not even try to go in. We walked past it and went on up the island to the beautiful Place Dauphine, where we had a lunch that was one of the best lunches I've ever had. The best butternut risotto ever. I still think about it. And after Place Dauphine, we walked out and crossed the river and went around the backside of the Louvre, where you can also go from here into the Tuileries Garden. You can go to the Place de la Concorde. But we went into, we got quick timed entry tickets on my phone and just popped into the Museum of Decorative Arts and spent a good amount of time wandering through there. You can see that video right here. And then we took the metro home from there, and that day we had dinner in, which was lovely. And again, you can buy all the groceries you need at all the little stores along the island if you're staying in that area, and just make your own lovely dinner. We walked a total of 4.4 miles that day. So you can see this trip, we're not exactly hitting it hard on the mileage. We just really wanted to sort of slow down and just enjoy the views and the fact that we were in Paris. On day 4, which was Good Friday, the Friday before Easter, we spent the day walking all through the Marais. We had a lovely cafe lunch at this gorgeous patio with all these beautiful flowers. And then we walked through as many of the hidden passages and covered galleries that I could map us to. We ended up popping out at the Palais Royal, where we had a coffee, and then we took the metro back and had dinner. We had made reservations on the island at one of my favorite places that I've ever eaten in Paris, which is on the Ile Saint-Louis at l'Orangerie, which I think you can make reservations online. I'm not sure about that one, but lovely place, lovely waitress. I believe there was a resident cat, which always makes it neat. And of course the food was amazing. Mileage for this day was 3.9 miles. Day 5 was a Saturday, and we got up early and we had planned this well in advance. We got a taxi, and I can't recommend this enough for many reasons. We took the taxi and headed out to the famous Marché aux Puces de Saint-Ouen, which is the largest antiques market in the world. It is absolutely worth a visit. If you love antiques, I can't recommend this enough. Definitely go out here. You will love. You will get amazingly and splendidly lost in all of the winding little alleys and shops and booths full of just, I can't even describe it. You have to go see it. We had a nice cafe lunch here about halfway through the day, and then, spent the second half visiting the other side of the market, and we took a taxi back to the apartment. For dinner, we had reservations at the sort of prestigious Rotisserie d'Argent, which is part of the sort of very famous Tour d'Argent, which I think is like the oldest restaurant in Paris and definitely one of the finest and the most famous restaurants in Paris. So the Rotisserie is at the base. They have a bakery and sort of a restaurant cafe at the bottom. I was really excited to eat there, but unfortunately I was not impressed with the food. It was good, but my steak, I wanted it medium rare, and I like a good rare steak, but it was like cold and purple in the middle. It was so rare, it was just, we won't talk about it. Then we, since this was a Saturday, we wrapped up by grabbing some groceries because the next day was Easter, and in France and Paris, Easter Sunday and Easter Monday, make a note, nothing probably at all will be open. You probably won't find gas stations, restaurants, museums, nothing's going to be available. So we got groceries because we knew that we would need food. We didn't want to find nothing open to go have anything to eat on that Easter Sunday or Monday. Total miles that day walked were only 2.42 miles. So again, we're not hitting it too hard. This is a very nice relaxed trip, and all of this is flat mileage. So we're not, we weren't really getting a huge workout each day. On our final day, it was Easter Sunday, and we met up with my dear friend Shannon of This French Life, who lives in Paris, and Brittany, and we met her for lunch. And then she took us afterwards on a gorgeous walk all through the Latin Quarter, all of her favorite little side streets to walk through, and up to the Jardin de Luxembourg and up to the Parthenon, and we visited the Tomb of Saint-Geneviève. And then we walked back down through some little back alley streets and made a huge circle back down to the Ile Saint-Louis in the rain. We got soaking wet, and it was just the best. It was the most fun day. I'm so grateful that she took us. We went back and had dinner in that night because, again, it was Easter Sunday and everything was closed. Mileage for the day was 3.7 miles. After spending a lovely week out in the Loire, driving all around, seeing all the castles and up into Bretagne, we returned to Paris on an afternoon train. We stayed in an apartment for one night by the Louvre, and we just got out that afternoon, walked around the Louvre area a little bit, kind of went down to the river, did some people watching from a cafe over a glass of wine and a lovely charcuterie. And then we had dinner reservations we had made at Le Fumoir, which is right around the corner from where we stayed. Lovely restaurant. I would definitely go back there. Excellent food, excellent service. And we showed up an hour early because I mistook the European military time that they use, so I didn't catch that 1900 is not 6 p.m. So they were super nice about it, and we all had a laugh, and they seated us anyway, which was lovely because they could have told us to come back in an hour. All in all, this was just a gorgeous, relaxing trip to Paris. I would not change anything that we did. Definitely highly recommend Le Fumoir and the Marché aux Puces if you are looking at antiques. If you love that sort of thing, do not skip that market because it's kind of out of town. some of the reviews online are negative because of people's experiences. I talk about that in that video. Go check that out. I would love to hear if you've been out there. Let us know in the comments, what are your favorite things to do that are kind of quieter or off the beaten path in this most beautiful of cities? Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.